Good evening. We're going to get the program started. And tonight we have a very special guest with us. Dr. Eric Jackson is the new chancellor for Indiana University Northwest. And frankly, he's a close friend already. I appreciate you coming. This is not our first time meeting. I have asked Dr. Jackson to share with you a little bit of his story and his thoughts about high school and how he thought, he should be more advanced. So I hope that he will share that story. Dr. Jackson comes to us from around the world, literally. Looks like he got a degree from the University of Alaska. Another one from the University of Washington, is that right? Former U.S. Army, well, not former, he is a veteran. So please, welcome Dr. Eric Jackson.
It's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon and celebrate the success of your student. Can y'all hear me? Okay. And celebrating, there we go. And celebrating the success of your students. I like this time of year primarily because it's the time of year, we get to have all the events to celebrate the graduations and the retirements and everything else that comes along. And I have an opportunity to really meet people who have reached a period in their life where they feel successful. And they walk across the stage, I get to shake their hands, I get to meet their parents and whoever comes to see them and celebrate them. So it's always a unique and special time. And so as I was pointing out, I went to school up in the University of Alaska. I was military for a while, and so that moved me around quite a bit. And then I went to Washington State University to get my master's degree in criminal justice, and eventually my doctorate degree in political science. Okay. And then, and life has taken me all over the world. So I've had a chance to live in Korea for a couple of years, live in Germany for some time, been over in Japan. I think I lived in just about 46 of the 50 states here and in this country, so it's been a great experience for me. As I came in and saw the list of all the certificates that each of the students achieved and noticed that's a significant contribution that you make with your time and your effort and all the things that go into it. As Mr. Teasley pointed out, I did share a story. When I was in high school, I graduated pretty much in the 11th grade. And they told me so, and you should never tell a 16-year-old kid that you're done with high school and expect them to keep coming back. And so they put me in a vocational school where I took computer programming, and then I also took accounting, and I have to tell you, I showed up sometimes, and I didn't show up most of the time. And so I didn't graduate what I thought I had graduated. I thought, or at least felt, I was a smart kid, and I continued to tell my children that I was in the honor society and all that stuff. But then one day I was going through my stuff and found my old report card and realized that, I probably embellished that a little bit. But I did join the military after high school. And so if you bear with me, I have pretty much 2 lessons I want to impart on you. And one of those lessons is do not quit. Don't ever quit moving forward. Times will be challenging, and you will feel like you need to quit, but do not. The second one, when you, quote unquote, and I'll explain later, are standing in that door and that light turns green, and I'll say that green light is your opportunity to be a leader, do not hesitate. All right? And there's a couple of reasons. I'll share this story. I was in airborne school. And so I'm basically jumping out of planes and trying to be a combat soldier. And when you come out of an airplane in the military, you do not have brakes on your parachute. You are moving at 35 miles an hour to hit the ground, and it's like a mini car crash every time you land. So one of my jumps, I was coming out of the airplane, and everything was going smooth, and I have what you call a -10 Bravo. That means the back of the parachute is open, and you're supposed to look down and follow the smoke, and wherever the smoke is blowing, you're supposed to be facing that way. I couldn't tell where the smoke was blowing, and so I didn't know which way to turn. And so I landed, and when I landed on my feet, went to my knees, my head went forward, bounced on the ground, my body went back, landed on my back feet. And I sprained my ankle. Because I sprained my ankle, I was unable to complete the required 5 jumps. And then I was on injured reserve, if you will. And so I had to stay up on the base until my leg healed so I can jump again. But not me. I said, they're trying to kill me. I'm ready to go home, or at least go back to my unit. So I told my black hat, and the black hat is the trainers. They wear black hats. They have airborne on the front, indicating that they are there to train you. And he said to me, hold up. You have to tell the first sergeant you want to quit. And I said, that's not a problem. You know, I'm a man. I could tell anybody what I want to do. And so I went, sat outside the office. As I was sitting there, there was a trail of black hats that went into the first sergeant's office before me. And then they reached out and said, oh, you can come in now. And then when I went in that office, on my left and on my right were all the black hats standing up in formation. And I had to walk through them. And through them was a first sergeant at the front desk. And this man never looked up, not once. He kept writing and signing papers and doing whatever he was doing. And so I had to walk up to his front desk, cane and all, limping. And he asked me, what do you want, Private? And I said, I think I want to quit, First Sergeant, and go back to my unit. Again, he never looked up at me. But he said one thing, he said a couple things to me. He said, quit is not in the vocabulary of an airborne soldier. So get out of my office. I turned around smartly, walked out. Next week, I was jumping back out of those planes. So I'm on this plane, the next one, and this jump, you had to stand in the door and wait for the light to turn green before you jump. That sounds like an easy thing to do, but when you're 35,000 feet in the air and you stand in the door and you look down and you see how small the earth is, and someone says, go, your first instinct is, no way. And then he said, if you don't go, we're going to miss our landing zone, and we got to redo this whole thing again. And before I could say anything, I felt a big boot in my back, and I went out the door screaming. So when the light turns green, you have to go. And sort of translate that and moving that forward on those lessons and how they've shaped my life. And now you should think about it in shaping where you are. You've achieved something unique. You're in high school and you already have a certificate to go to work. You already have a certificate or a means to be able to take care of yourself, to be able to take care of your family if that's what you choose, to be able to grow. But understand that even though you have that piece of paper that says you may have had one accomplishment, You are not going to be where you want to be in life. It takes time. You don't just get there because you've accomplished something. I've been doing higher education for over 30 years, and it's taken me 30 years to achieve a chancellor's role. And through that 30-year window, there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been challenges, there's been times where I felt like I wanted to quit. But I remember, quit is not in the vocabulary of an airborne soldier. And it should not be in your vocabulary either. You keep moving forward, you keep doing the best you can, you keep getting at more education, you keep getting more experience, and then eventually you'll get to a goal that you have set for your life. And believe me, they will change multiple times as you move through life. The other thing out of this is I've been talking to my different teams, and I've been living in this work for, like I said, over 30 years. What I've encountered, to my disappointment really, is that there are many, many reluctant leaders. They have the skill, they have the talent, they have the ability, the knowledge to lead, but when the opportunity to lead happens, they don't do it. Even though they may be in a leadership position and they may choose not to lead. So going back to when that light turns green and it's time for you to go, if you're going to be in this world, be in the workforce, be in the profession, do not choose to be lower than what you truly are worth. Choose to lead, choose to expand, choose to use your voice, choose to use your position to help other people as well. And so as you move forward and you graduate and all the celebratory things are going to happen, at the end of the day, you're going to get to a point where things slow down. You begin to think about where you are. You begin to think about where you want to go. And you begin to think about the impact you want to have. Remember, the impact you want to have. You want to have an impact. If you choose not to do that, you will be what I would call a reluctant leader. And so after this graduation, we'll hand out these beautiful plaques to everyone. And when you walk across this stage to receive your plaque, that light has turned green. And it's time for you to go. So I want to thank you for having me.
Now, for the reason that we are here, the class of 2026, which they will tell you, they will forever remember with me. As many certificates, ICCs, and associates they're receiving, it represents the personalities of this group. This group is different than any other group that I've had in the last 2 years. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but nonetheless, they are a phenomenal group, and we are proud to celebrate them today. All right, so first, we are going to honor our machine tools technology, technical certifications, Mr. Jamie Allen. Next, for machine tools technology, Mitrell Harvey. Also, for machine tools technology, Reginald Cass. Also for machine tools technology, Zion Beecham. Machine tools technology, Ronald Mosley. Machine Tools Technology, Dennis Rock. Machine Tools Technology, Ishmael Rodriguez. Machine Tools Technology, James Winger. Next, we have Structural Welding, Curtis Gills. Structural Welding, Emmanuel Gonzalez. Structural Welding, Kevin Hegwood. Structural Welding, Terrence Lewis. Maintenance and Light Repair, Christian Boswell Bell. For early childhood education, Kyla Jones. Next, receiving her TSAP, Terry Richardson. All right, next, we want to celebrate our students who received the Indiana College Core, meaning that they have enough credits for 1 full year of college. Cassius Banks. Christian Boswell Bell. Emmanuel Gonzalez. Continuing with the Indiana College Board, Aaliyah Hopkins. Kyla Jones. Denia McGee. Receiving her Indiana College Core, Shania McCullough. Azaria Nielsen. Tim Richardson. We're moving on to our career certifications. First, our CCMA. Mr. Alexander House. Next, we will go to our CNA, our Certified Nursing Assistant. First, we have Victoria Duncan. Keeping with our CNA, Miss Aaliyah Hopkins. Also, CNA, Shania McCullough. Also with CNA, Laura Pope. Moving to our culinary department, first, Ms. Zari Futrell.
She's still at the door. Still at the door.
Trinity Holcomb,
She here. She's coming.
Keyshawn Marshall, Xavier McPherson, Brandon Stafford, Destiny Williams, next, we are going to move to our cosmetology and barbering. First with barbering, Mr. Lewis Marshall. Jaden Rayford. Trevell Williams. Moving to our cosmetology, Kanaya Jones. Also in cosmetology, Demaya Mitchell. Going back for one of our machine tools technology, Mr. Dennis Rock. In our last category, we want to acknowledge that we do have 4 students who are receiving their associate's degree this year. Two of them cannot be present today, but I do still want to acknowledge them, and that is Brandon Israel and Anaya Broussard. Receiving his associate's degree in general studies, Mr. Emmanuel Gonzalez. Ms. Azara Millsap. All right. At this time, can we clap it up one more time for all of our technical certificates, ICCs, associates, our career certification. We just have these students that work really hard. We are extremely proud of each one. I want to publicly apologize because there are 5 associates. We called her earlier, and I want to give her just due because she earned it. Ms. Terry Richardson.
You know, I think we need to cut OT a little slack because this is a challenging school in many, many ways. It's not your traditional high school. Most high school administrators simply have to know how many high school graduates they have. Mr. Mahone has to know how many high school graduates he has He has 77. But he also has to know how many Indiana College Core one-year college credit earners he has. He also has to know how many career certification students he has. He also has to know how many students have an associate degree. This is a lot of work. It's very different. It's very non-traditional. And I'll go back to Dr. Eric Jackson's comment. When the green light is on, jump. Every single one of these students had the green light on for them. The door was open. And guess what? They jumped. They have all done more than a traditional high school student in Indiana. I'm extraordinarily proud. I know every single one of you are proud. But let's put it into some context. What they have done is not normal. It isn't. Most kids in the state of Indiana spend 4 years in high school and they graduate with a high school diploma. Nothing wrong with that. But these students are exceptional. They earned a full career certification, a full year's worth of college, saved themselves and their family a ton of money. If you went to Indiana University and you stayed on campus, that 1 year is going to cost you roughly $25,000. I don't know if it's what it is at IUN, but it's roughly $25,000. So the students who have earned 1 full year, they're going to enter in college as a sophomore. They've saved themselves 1 year's worth of time. They've saved themselves $25,000. And the students who have earned a full associate degree, they've saved themselves $50,000. 50. And 2 years of time. And they could graduate probably at age 20 with a full bachelor's degree, which many do. This is a very unusual high school. The banners over here are somewhat traditional. Please take a look. These are sports championship banners and achievements. But what do we have over here? What high school celebrates, like we do, the academic achievements, career certifications, Indiana College Core and college degrees, like we do? And we do. And each and every single one of these students will now be forever memorialized and celebrated at 21st Century Charter because they have their banners. Their names are on these are the new ones. The new banners, they're right here. And they're over here. You are important to the history of 21st century. I don't know if you knew that when the green light went on and you jumped and took advantage of what we offered. So I really want to celebrate these kids. They are unbelievable. Along this wall, if you haven't taken a look, and if you detect I'm just a little excited about it, I am very excited about tonight. At the very far right, you'll see a picture taken back in 2005 of a bunch of adults with shovels. We were all aspiring and wanting to have a school where students would do something different. We did not want to be a traditional school. We were asked to come to Gary and start a school that would address the high school dropout rate and elevate the education achievement in this city. But we had aspirations, we had plans, we had ideas. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to students believing in those ideas and wanting to jump out that plane when they got the green light. Nobody made these kids earn a certification. Nobody. They could have skated. They could have just earned a high school diploma, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they were inspired by their leadership, by their staff, by their family, and they were empowered by this school, and they took the leap. We didn't put a boot in their back. Didn't do that. Maybe Brandy did. I don't know. But they took the leap of faith that they can do more than a traditional high school student in the state of Indiana. And they did. And in the state of Indiana, I got to give you the comparison. Only 5% of high school seniors graduate with more than a high school diploma. Only 5%. Guess who's bringing up the average? All of these kids. All of these kids. And this year, I'm told, of the 77 seniors, 61, that's 80% if you're doing the math, have earned more than a high school diploma. 80%. I guess I should shut up and just do, that's a mic drop right there. That's a mic drop. I really appreciate everybody coming out here and celebrating with us, the staff, the leadership, the student achievement. Every single one of these students have done tremendous work. They deserve all of our respect and a great round of applause. So with that, I will shut up. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you.
You guys are great.
I appreciate you all, okay?